Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 27th of May. Now this week traders coming back to their trading desks in the UK and the US after an extended weekend, but there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of change in the sort of big macroeconomic picture. So we still have US and China trade tensions, we still have the US and Iranian sort of tensions sitting there too. On top of that, we also have the UK leadership contest now for a new PM after the resignation of the UK Prime Minister. So plenty there to keep the markets sort of poised and interest. So let's take a look at a few markets here that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room this week. So if we come and take a look at the US indices, and this is the Dow Jones future, this market has been a market that we've traded more on an intraday basis for some time now due to the sort of choppiness of these trends. But there's now these markets are starting to look decisively more bearish on the longer term. So if we take a look at this on the weekly, you can see this a bit more clearly. The 25,500 level is a really key structure point here on this market, and prices, since it's come back to test this, it's really failed to break above and bounce higher here, which is what we'd expect. And if it can't go any higher, then there's only really one way for it to go, and that's to the short side. And it's coming back down, coming very close to that 25,500 level again. You can see underneath this area, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot in the way for a move down towards that 24,000 area too. Now, if we come and take a look at this at the daily time frame, rather, you can see on the daily that the market's sort of putting in a series of sort of lower highs here, and at the moment the price is sort of rolling over, seemingly not far away from that 25,500 at the moment. So it looks like a fairly sort of short move here, easy move here in the near term down to retest that 25,500. If it gets through there, we have 25 sort of 220 as the next sort of level, which we've tested a few times here as well. Underneath that, it's a short move to 25,000. So by the time it gets down here, if it gets to that sort of place and it can't find support in any of these sort of areas, or there's no news to support this higher, then there's by the time the market gets down here, it's going to look decidedly weak. On the upside, I still think that 25,850, this higher level up here, is the area that price needs to really sort of get through decisively in order to break this sort of downward trend. Now, 25,850 has been an area that we can see has been very significant in the past, and the market sort of really struggled to get through there over the sort of recent weeks. So the Dow futures contract and US indices are sort of very much intraday trading opportunities for us in the trading room. And again, they're more looking at on the short side for us as well. Now, when we come and have a look at commodities, the metals here have been looking extremely weak for some time. The likes of gold here, if we can see this on the higher time frame, I'm still sort of bearish on gold for the longer term, because we can see here on the weekly that the market's it's kind of been testing around this 1275 level, and it's really failed to actually sort of pick up any momentum above it. Until it does that, it's decidedly sort of bearish, and especially if the market can break underneath here, then we can start to see some of these trading windows underneath price starting to come into play. Now, I don't think gold is one of the easiest metals to play at the moment. I think silver has been one of the better ones for us, and we've talked about opportunities on silver in the newsletter over the past few weeks. Now, there was a nice little trade here on silver earlier this morning. I still think this is looking sort of quite weak. The only challenge with a lot of these metals is they're starting to come up to significant levels. So we've got to look at silver here on the daily chart, and you can see that sort of 14,400 area is an area where the market sort of found key support a number of times. So again, if the market gets to there, then we need to allow price to decide what it's going to do, whether it's going to bounce or break. A decisive break underneath there could be sort of quite bearish for all of these metal markets. Now, one that I think is possibly closer to trading opportunities in the near term is platinum. So platinum, again, if we look at this on the daily chart, the 800 level, again, is another sort of structure level here on this market. But price has rallied back up. It's rejecting off the moving averages here at the moment. And it looks quite sort of bearish at the moment, and for an easy test back down towards that sort of 800 level. Of course, underneath 800, if we can get a break under there, then we could be starting to look down towards that sort of 800 area down here on platinum. Now, from a currency perspective, a lot of the currencies are looking a little bit mixed at the moment, but one that I think is not quite a common market to trade, but certainly looking rather interesting, is the Singapore dollar. And the Singapore dollar is looking decisively weak at the moment. If we take a look at Singapore yen, for example, and take a look at this on the higher time frames, we can see that this market has broken through significant levels. It's continued to continue to weaken, and really underneath where price is, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot in the way for continued sort of weakness in this market. Now, Singapore dollar yen is a little bit more sort of challenging to trade or get positioned in if you're not already positioned, because the market's already sort of moved. But some of these others are looking a little bit more interesting. So if we come to euro against the Singapore dollar, this one has recently sort of turned around and bounced off the 152 level here on the weekly chart. The market's looking quite strong here on the weekly, and it's ploughed through the moving averages. So if we come and take a look at this on the daily, we'll see that trend structure is now formed into a uptrend with the moving averages and the convergence now all in alignment. And price is now just sort of taking out, it's just sort of breaking through this level here around that 154,000 level. You can see this level has been key support and resistance in the past. So it's just coming off the moving averages now, breaking through there. And if this can hold, then we could be looking for an extended move here in Euro Sing. And we'll be looking at opportunities to get sort of positioned above this area once markets sort of decided that this is now, this resistance has now been broken and it becomes support. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room this week. I certainly hope it helps, and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.